telling stories related to Easter, but you need to know about another holiday the Jewish people celebrate. It's called Passover, and that's the holiday Jesus and his friends celebrated.
Hi, kiddo. I'm Grandma Goodie, and I'm here to tell you a Bible story. This story begins thousands of years ago in the land of Egypt. The Jewish people, they were slaves. A slave is somebody who's held captive, and they're forced to do work with no pay. So they cried out to God, and God heard their cries, and he called on a man by the name of Moses to go and tell the ruler of Egypt, that's called the Pharaoh, tell him, let my people go. At the moment this story begins, Moses went back to Pharaoh and he said, Pharaoh, this is your last chance. Let God's people go. And if you don't, tonight at midnight, he's going to kill the oldest son or the firstborn male. So the girls got off easy on that one. Anyway, of every family and of every animal. And so Pharaoh, you better let God's people go so that won't happen. So God warned him and gave him a chance. But Pharaoh said, no way. And he was stubborn. So God told Moses to tell the whole community that they had to do something. And he said, here's what you're going to do. On the 10th day of this month, you're going to need to pick out a special lamb. And it needs to be 1 year old, and it has to be perfect. No flaws, nothing wrong with it. Now, it could be a sheep or a goat, and you got to bring it in to your family to take special care of it. You know, now you see, they've got lots of little sheeps and goats. They had flocks, and it was very normal for them. They didn't go to the grocery store and get dinner. When they need to eat something, usually the daddy, would go out and get a sheep or a goat, and then they'd kill it, and then they'd eat it. And that was just the way it is. Like if you're on a farm, you understand that. But this was different. So they're supposed to bring that little lamb into their house and keep it from the 10th day all the way to the evening of the 14th day. That's 5 days. And you know, like we have Bo here. Come on, Bo, come on up. Come on. Here, Bo, come on up. Yeah, come on up. Grandma Goodie's got a treat for you. See, we got Bo right here. And Bo, we love Bo. And when we got him as a little puppy, within a day I was in love with him. And if I had kept him for 4.5 days, and then, here you go, Bo. Here, you want this? There you go. You're so sweet. Yeah, you're a good boy. Give me a kiss. Okay, you can get down. I got this little lamb here. And this is just a little stuffed animal, but imagine that you have a sweet little lamb and you're just loving on it, and the kiddos are bored silly, so they're playing with it. But you couldn't help but love that little lamb. And so the daddy would take the little lamb, and he's just gonna take him out back. So the daddy came back, but he didn't have the lamb. Instead, he had a bowl. And God said to him, to turn your house into a safe place, you're going to take some hyssop, that's like a bushy thing, and you're going to dip it in the blood of that lamb. And you're going to smear the blood right across the top and the sides of your door. Okay, so he puts it right there, and he puts it right there. And I know you might be a little squeamish about blood, but the Bible does tell us life is in the blood, and you're going to see how important that's going to be. Okay, so is that good? You think somebody could see that? Okay, good. And then they all had to go inside the house and shut the door so they'd all be safe, because this house with that blood on the doorpost, it's a safe place now. And so let me just put them all in there. Now they're all inside their little house, and we're going to close the door. And so now they're all in there. So God says, while you're in there, you're going to eat roast lamb, and you're gonna get some other things here. You're gonna have some bitter herbs, and like this here. This is ginger root. It is bitter. I don't like the taste of it. Let me show you. This is ginger, and if you just chew a chunk of it, oh, that is bitter. I don't care for it. And then they had to have this special bread. You see, this bread, it looks more like a cracker, because if you have bread that's puffy and fluffy, that's because it has something called leaven in it that makes it puff up. But you have to wait a long time for the bread to rise and get puffy like that. Well, God said to him, you're not going to have time to wait for the bread to rise. You're going to be free, and you're going to be leaving Egypt fast. So you got to have the bread. Just don't even wait for it to rise. Just have no leaven in it. Just have like a cracker. It's good. I like it. It's called the matzah. And anyway, so they're supposed to have this special meal and eat together. Then they weren't supposed to leave any of it till the morning. So after this special meal, God said, now here's special instructions for when you go to bed tonight. I want you to wear your clothes. Don't put on your PJs. You got to be dressed and ready to go. And I want you to sleep with your sandals on your feet. Put them on your feet. Sleep with sandals on your feet. Have you ever slept with sandals? Well, it was a special night and special circumstances. And he also said, I want you to have your walking stick like this. When you're walking and you need a little help, have your walking stick right beside you, because you're going to get up in the middle of the night and escape. And then Moses passed on God's message to him. He said, tonight, in the middle of the night, I am going to bring judgment on the land of Egypt. And he said, when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague will not touch you. When Moses finished speaking and explaining all of this that God was going to do, all the people bowed down and they worshiped God.
At midnight, the firstborn male died in every home in Egypt, except those homes that had the blood of the lamb on their doorposts. Death passed over those homes, and they stayed safe.
But Moses went back to Pharaoh, and he says, I warned you, let God's people go. And finally Pharaoh said, get out, go ahead, but bless me as you're leaving. And the people of Israel started to head out. Good thing they had their walking sticks and their sandals were on their feet, and they were ready to run. And they headed out toward freedom. Let me tell you where you can find it, okay? You're going to look in the Old Testament, and the book is called Exodus, chapter 12. You're going to read verses 1 to 14, and you're also going to read verses 21 to 29. And if you're using the secret code, it's going to be EXO, the number 12, and the 2 dots, and then 1 to 14. And then you see here, this is the same chapter, EXO 12, but you're going to look in the itty bitty numbers 21 to 29. And you remember, kiddo, Grandma Goodie loves you, but God loves you more.
And don't miss my next story, where Jesus draws a surprising new meaning from the Passover celebration.